Oh, we're live. Here we go. We usually get a countdown timer, Will. Never mind.
No, we did get a countdown timer. Now we're live. We are now live.
Ah, okay.
Well, at least I saw the countdown timer.
I obviously didn't see it. Everyone was thinking, what the hell are these guys on about? Listen, let's dive into it, Will. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're bringing the latest AI news and showing our views. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, do all those amazing things. Really, really appreciate it. It costs nothing to do. Just hit that like. Really appreciate it. Just shows a little bit of appreciation, even if you listen for 30 seconds. Doesn't do any harm, does it? So, yeah, thank you for the support. Right, Will, we're gonna actually share two stories today. One is two
stories.
One was basically because one's quite short and not a lot to really say other than which I'm not going to say just yet because I'll let Will announce it. But Will, before we dive into the two AI stories, in the UK, and I didn't say this before we went live, we've got the Chancellor coming on shortly to announce the budget. So obviously this isn't really that interesting for anybody in the US, so I do apologise, but I just wanted to grab Will's initial sort of take on it.
On the budget being announced.
I just literally surprised you with that one, did I, Will?
Yeah,
you had no idea I was going to ask you that question.
Let's just say I am not, and I don't mind sharing some of my political views. Let me just say that I'm not the greatest fan of our current Labour government. Their last budget was a bit of a disaster. It seems, if you follow the news and the political news, that the year hasn't gone so well economically for the UK. So I'm really looking forward to what Rachel Reeves has to say this year. Obviously, we don't know until the speech what's going to be said, but I hear some pretty horrific things down the grapevine. So I guess we'll find out.
Maybe we should do a live stream as it's coming out from a tech founder's perspective. I don't know.
Well, this is it. I'm going to remain ambivalent.
Yeah. I saw another local tech person, local to us, announcing that they're moving overseas to Dubai. So
it's happening more and more. More and more. The UK has changed an awful lot, especially for the tech scene and for businesses over the last 5-6 years. Not for the better. I think most business owners and people in tech would agree. I'm going to remain ambivalent to this budget. I don't have high hopes, but maybe we'll be surprised.
Well, let's dive into the main purpose of the video, which is obviously bringing the audience some latest in the AI news. So let's dive into it.
Two stories today. The first one we had to squeeze in, but it's probably too short to do an entire episode on, because you'll see why. But that is the fact that Anthropic released their new Claude Opus 4.5, which is their largest frontier model, and it's their latest and greatest. Obviously, you come to expect what these announcements are going to contain, and this one is no different. It smashes benchmarks specifically within the coding domain, but that's what Anthropic has sort of become known for. It's achieved 80% in the SWE Bench, which is a pretty tough benchmark, and it beats every other model, including Gemini 3 that got released just last week. And it's had a load of good first impressions. It's actually been the first model out of Anthropic. They have an internal benchmark where they give a take-home assessment to all the engineers and anybody that wants to be a candidate in this test. And for the first time, this model has beaten every human candidate ever to take this take-home test, which is an absolutely phenomenal benchmark. It's sparked conversations like employees and engineers at Anthropic saying that they think we won't be reviewing code from models within 6 months, that we'll just be trusting the outputs like we trust other things like compiler outputs if you're in the technical world. But yes, Ben, I don't know if you want to add to it, but this is just a new model. It's very good. I've tested it. It contains a lot of clever stuff. It is amazing. And yeah. Good on Anthropic.
Mate, it's just top of the pops in the AI world. Like the other day, we were talking about the latest Gemini model coming out, and that's, hitting number one. I mean, it's literally, I feel like I need like the background music of top of the pops coming out as and number 10, number 9, and number 8. Yeah. And this week's number 1 is, it's just constant. I mean, it's a fast moving, space.
It is. Before I think we would have done a whole episode on it, but honestly, these model releases happen so often, and they're always benchmark beating. That, to be fair, they're very indifferent from each other, really. This one does a few new technical things like auto compression of context, so you can have essentially unlimited conversations. Though I don't know if that is the model specifically more than the software that is running around the model, that Anthropic has built. But either way, there's a couple of little things. It's obviously incredibly good at coding, world beating, but they all are. Every time they're released.
What we need? What we need is to dress up like wearing like 90s clothes, have some sort of poppy music, and have like a weekly Top of the Pops AI chart.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad shout. I mean, maybe we'll do it.
So what's the next story that we're going to share? So this is I hope you guys appreciate this, because we've actually bringing you 3 stories, and we did say 2, but we obviously
Ben dropped a little bit of a budget discussion in there, and maybe once we've heard the budget, maybe tomorrow's video we can actually talk about the impact that might have, or if there is an impact that we think there might be for the tech world and for the UK, then we can talk about that. But yeah, 3 stories. Let's jump into the next one. This one is a little bit more discussion heavy, and we can talk about it because it raises a conversation that we've touched on before, but it continues to push towards some important work, I think, and that is the fact that Google has just released on one of their blogs. I mean, they have many blogs, but this is their keyword blog, that they are bringing out image verification to the Gemini app, which I think is a really important step. I don't know if you've seen the new Nano Banana, which it was their code name, but they've sort of stuck with it. The Nano Banana model for generating images, very, very good quality images very, very quickly. And they've just brought that out. And this continues to be a discussion, is that everywhere you go on social media, you are seeing AI-generated text, AI-generated imagery, AI-generated video. It's absolutely everywhere. And I've said before, and I know we've discussed before, that it's going to be really important that we can tell when something is fake, when something has had AI influence in it. And Google clearly recognizes this as well, because they're bringing it to the app. You can upload any image you want into Google Gemini, and it will check to see if it thinks it was AI generated. Well, specifically generated with Google's Nano Banana. They have a whole new watermarking system called SynthID that Gemini can check for, and to tell you if it's fake. It's not bulletproof. It won't be bulletproof for a very long time, but I think it's an important step, to be able to give people the control to self-validate and fact-check the things that they're seeing on the internet, if they so want to.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, it's interesting because this has been sort of in the conversation within the blockchain space, the crypto space for quite a while, I mean, yeah, probably a number of years. I've heard people talk about the importance of verification and evidencing that somebody is who they say they are, or the content that they create is from the content creator that created it, or the video is authenticated from, created by the person who actually, says it's created by. And, it's going to get to the point where, probably live streams, with somebody else has to be authenticated that you are speaking to the person that you think you're speaking to. So I think that whole digital authentication is really, really essential, because obviously with AI, we're just accelerating what can be done, and also bad actors will be accelerating what can be done. So I think all that type of verification, authentication, and in terms of the content that you put out, and in terms of trusting the content that you're absorbing and receiving is actually from the person that you think it's from. I think it's a really interesting world where the whole blockchain, the crypto, and I'm not saying that necessarily has to be done just in the blockchain crypto space. Obviously, technology is technology, but it's just interesting that I've been hearing these conversations for a number of years. This is obviously happening with Google Gemini, and I think there'll have to be some kind of standardization in terms of how we all verify and just, a real simple
Yeah.
UI. So Joe Public can it's just built into the operating system or the apps or whatever. It's just, but there's going to have to be some sort of standardization, or maybe it's an interoperability with different, solutions. I don't know, but it's really interesting, and it's something that I've been hearing a lot about from the Cardano community, and with Midnight, with privacy. That's really interesting. So I just see all these technologies all converging, AI, blockchain, identity, privacy. It's just really, really fascinating, because again, I know this is an AI show, but really it's a technology show, because we can't look at AI just in isolation of the rest of the world. It's ridiculous. Equally, you can't look at crypto just in isolation. You got to look at how all these technologies converge, and form, the product, services, utility that we all need. So yeah, it's very interesting, mate. I think it's an inevitability.
Absolutely.
And it's good to see. Yeah, again, I think companies are going to be sort of experimenting with what works and what doesn't work and all the rest of it. So yeah, I'm not sure what the standardization will exactly look like yet. But it's good. It's good to see, because again, you don't want to just rely on, seeing a video on X and then, thinking that's the truth. Or, I mean, geez, Will, literally just came to my mind. What about the whole recent thing with Newsnight and was it Newsnight, or was it just the BBC? Doctoring
Panorama.
Trump's Panorama, Trump's speech.
Yeah.
Again, we need to be able to trust the content that we're seeing. And unfortunately, it goes back to the old saying, don't trust, verify.
Yeah, no,
And that is the whole ethos of crypto, of Bitcoin, and all the rest of it, is don't trust, verify, and everything should be transparent and open to the world to see what the truth is. So this is, again, we can't trust any of these so-called established institutions, unfortunately, as much as we might want to, or as much as we might naively think we can. My younger self, would probably trust that. Well, I did, trust the mainstream news. I did think that governments were there to, do the right thing for the people. Why wouldn't they? Why would they not want to do the right thing? It was, an ideological, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Idealism, that I thought that we all would do the right thing to help, and if you go into politics, you're doing things to help other people and do the right thing. Surely, why would the government not want to do that? I think, as you get older, as you get, you battle scars and experience, and you realize the world isn't quite what you possibly wish or think it was or is. So the great thing about technology is, again, it removes that potential inevitability where humans abuse trust, humans abuse privacy, humans abuse power. That's what it's about. So if we can try and create systems and technology that just is transparent, there's no arguing about it. This is what it was. You can have a view on it, that's fine, but there's no manipulation of the facts. There could be an interpretation of what you've seen or read, but you can't, fake it. So yeah, that's my sort of initial thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're right at the beginning of this verification. Obviously, AI verification is just one part of it, as you mentioned, Panorama, and actually faking, just editing, just basic editing. That's a whole other thing. But AI presents a new frontier of verification that's probably going to be required. It's great to see companies like Google doing their different versions of these watermarks. OpenAI have them. I'm sure Anthropic are going to be having their own as well, or already do for different mediums that are generated by them. I think, as you correctly said, there's going to need to be a standard at the moment, as you said, you can go onto the Gemini app and you can plug in the photo and you can go, was this generated by Gemini? And if it was generated by OpenAI, then it will go, no, it wasn't generated by, so it passes the verification. So these companies are all going to have to work together at some point to bring together a standard. Another thing that I would love to see
open source,
potentially,
mate. Open source.
Yeah, well, I literally took the words out of my mouth. Another thing that I would love to see is an open source solution for this, which does happen actually, is individuals and other corporations will look at the market as a whole and decide to create a new protocol or a new standard or something new that can be released open source that's, the companies that need it can adopt. I'd love to see that. It makes things transparent, way more transparent for everybody.
We can't trust.
Also means
we can't trust big business. We can't trust governments. We can't trust enterprise to do this. We need to do it ourselves. We need the community.
Well, exactly. Or they'll do it. They'll do it very individual. They'll have their own verification solutions, which is helpful to a degree, but doesn't cover the whole spectrum. So no, I'd love to see an open source variety. Again, maybe it's something that we'll work on as well. That'll be it's always worth looking at these solutions to see if there's something that we could put together as well. And no, I think it's a great step. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of different ways you could do it, as you mentioned, blockchain. There's very other traditional ways of doing it as well, and traditional watermarking. And I think it's great that this work is going on.
Awesome. Well, listen, let us know what you guys think in the comments. And like I said,
Absolutely.
don't forget to subscribe. Really appreciate it. I think we'll wrap up. Well, I think we'll say au revoir to our amazing audience. We really appreciate you, genuinely. But yeah, love to hear what you got to say. Just say hi in the comments. Don't have to, add any deep thoughts if you don't want to, but it's just nice to get a bit of interaction. For now, we'll keep you tuned in and we'll keep our eyes and ears out for the latest news. Maybe we'll bring the budget, sort of our take on it, in terms of a text perspective tomorrow. We'll see. It might be really boring to do. I don't know.
It might be really boring.
So we might not. So we'll see. All right. So don't hang your hat on that. All right, gang. All right. We'll love you and leave you. Take care for now.
Cheers, guys.